Today I'm gonna make super generic lanterns that are boring in every way. Just kidding. Yes, I know. I just made lanterns in the last video, and we are gonna make more lanterns in this video because guess what? I like lanterns, and you can never have too many. Except these are gonna be a little bit different because these are gonna be wood and resin lanterns. I'm starting with cut paper snowflakes, and that's what's gonna actually turn into the lanterns. I'm Brooke, this is Maker's Workshop. Let's get started. To get started, I tore regular printer paper down to the rough proportions that I was envisioning for the finished lanterns. Then I just folded it on up and went for it. I ended up making quite a few as I got a better feel for what I liked and didn't like design-wise as I was going. And then I laid down some black construction paper. I'm using Adobe Capture to convert this into a vector file, and this requires high contrast. I went ahead and scanned in a few of my favorites and then sent them into Adobe Illustrator to be refined. I use the Box-o-Matic app all the time for creating box joints. It's a favorite of mine because it's so easy. I use the app to auto-generate a template for a box the size of my finished lanterns for an 1/8 inch thick piece of wood. And then I replace the outer border of the cut snowflake scans with the file that the Box-o-Matic app generated. I'm using poplar for this, mainly just because I had a piece that was like machine ready and an 1/8 inch thick. But I'm realizing I don't really see people work with poplar all the time, which, I don't know, I kind of like the color it has. I put my raw material into the laser cutter and then let it run. The first design I went for was the smallest of the ones I pulled together because it seemed like the best choice for, the first proof of concept. After I dry fit this together, I prepped for the resin pour. Acrylic doesn't adhere to resin, so I cut some scraps down to the size of each lantern side. This would allow me to get a lot of pressure on there to keep the colors from seeping underneath the wood and marbling on me. Then I mixed up the resin. I went with Total Boat 2:1 with medium hardener on this one. And I mixed a few different mica powders into a few different small batches, so that I could carefully pour each color into different cells in the pattern. While that hardened up, I went ahead and cut one of my larger designs on some more poplar. The acrylic makes for a really easy in molding because it has a little bit of flexibility to it. It just pops off with some pressure. And then I threw these through the drum sander to remove the bulk of the excess resin and then hand sanded lightly. Again, I was thinking of this first one as more of a proof of concept, so I really didn't get too persnickety here. The lantern went together easily with wood glue, and then I finished it off with a wipe-on poly.
I think it's ugly.
I do too. Oh, I also figured out why no one uses poplar.
Because it's gross. I don't like it. I don't like it even more now. I don't like it.
You seem to like the fire though.
I don't like it. It just needs more color.
Yeah, it needs more pigment, and then I think this design's cooler.
Or it needs no pigment.
Right? Either like nothing or all, right? I mean, it's kind of cool without the resin.
I think it's better without the resin.
It's just like a.
I think you need the resin. I think you should do clear resin.
Oh my god, I think clear resin might be really cool, right?
I think clear resin because it looks like glass.
You just broke it.
Because it didn't have any resin. It needs resin.
What if I... I'm still gonna make... Stop! Oh, here, wait, stop, hold everything. Ooh, yeah, no, the triangle's it.
That's better. Clear and triangle. Cool? Yeah, this is ugly.
If I just make bigger... If you burn this right now, you already broke one of them.
And my breaking it is what led you to the genius of the triangle.
Why are you like this?
Let's go make spin art.
What are you doing now?
Going to make spin art.
prep some more acrylic to fit the next lantern design. The poplar was exceptionally brittle, and my hope was that the resin would look cool but also add some much needed rigidity. Because of this, I also went pretty heavy-handed on this resin pour. The drum sander ate up more material than I would have liked on the first lantern, so I opted for a random orbital sander for more control this time, and I sanded this up to a 220 grit. Perhaps unsurprisingly, the poplar box joints couldn't handle the sanding. It was brittle to start, like I said, but also I really visually wanted the grain to go vertically, making for even more delicate box joints because of the direction the grain fell on them. I saved the pieces that chipped off and decided to push forward with it regardless, thinking that I could just glue them back into place once it was assembled. Then I noticed that the resin had seeped into the box joints ever so slightly, just enough to mess up the box joints slipping together. So I went at it painstakingly with a knife to clean those out. No worries, it still managed to be difficult despite all my efforts. It's brittle. It's really brittle. Hi. I hate poplar. So I am at Maker's Workshop, and because I know that we have a stash of machine ready wood that's already an 1/8 inch thick and is things that are not poplar. So we're gonna find some other materials for this build. Let's do it. Ooh yeah, mahogany, very nice. Walnuts, zebrawood. Got some good stuff in here. Red oak, Hadoop. Oh my goodness! Ash. Mahogany. 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 How fancy. Alright, I got a lot. And I suppose I should probably try to use up the poplar because we kind of have a lot of it and I don't ever want to have to use it again. I went in with the same design on Purple Heart. It's a hardwood and I've worked with it before, so I wasn't really worried about it being able to handle the intricate design, with the grain still being able to go vertically like I wanted. Also, I don't know how obvious it is, but I made the box joints a bit longer than needed because they weren't going to be sitting quite flush anyway with the triangular shape, so I figured it would be an interesting visual element to kind of emphasize. As expected, the Purple Heart handled the process much more smoothly, and I cleaned off the dust with rubbing alcohol. I went in with the next design on Mahogany. Okay, one of my Purple Heart panels did end up with chipped box joints. This was my clumsiness to blame, not the wood. If I made wider box joints, I think it would have really made a difference in this whole process because it would have been a lot more durable. But there was no need to scrap this piece and start over. I just used the bandsaw to cut off the joints entirely for a different finished look. And I kind of liked it better on the Purple Heart anyway. This piece isn't something that's going to be taking a tremendous amount of wear and tear or anything, so I just sanded a slight bevel on the edges to help it go together into the triangular shape, but you absolutely could take more time with this step or use a more precise tool for this step to get a bevel cut into the wood. I put a drop of wood glue on each edge to start because it was a tight squeeze to get my whole hand in there and I didn't want any wood glue smearing on the clear resin. Then it was the Mahogany lantern's turn. There was one minor resin spill that I needed to cut off with a knife. I went in with the same gluing method on the Mahogany lantern. The glue plus the really tight joints made for a really strong finished piece. I've got a gigantic bucket of mineral oil, so it seemed like the most convenient finish to go with here. It doesn't harden like other finishes, so in the future I may want to refinish these. However, that's easy enough to do. Over resin, a hard wax oil tends to look really, really nice. You can also go with a poly, a varnish. You can kind of use anything.
I've also, in the spirit of nothing other than not giving up, been making a poplar lantern too. So we're gonna get the finish on this thing and see. And here's the kicker. With every other wood I've ever worked with, when you put the finish on it, it's like, ooh. When you put the finish on poplar, it goes from looking good to being like, oh. So we'll see. But we tried, you know? I tried.
Poplar has kind of a weird color. It's not bad, it's not good, it's just really unusual.
You know what, Poplar, I think you're not so bad.
I think the clear resin with it was a really good call, and it weirdly rounded out my set. Purple Heart, Mahogany, Poplar. Not a combo you see every day. I'll give it that. And then it was time to take a look at these with candlelight.
They're done! This was a really fun build in that it was kind of like a rabbit hole of a build. I could think of a billion different ways to go with this, even after making a couple myself. The box joints are really cool. Without the box joints are really cool. I think adding the colors into each cell could be a really cool idea. If you like this video, don't forget to click subscribe, leave a comment, give it a like, and I will see you next time.